nobody there.
Nobody there.
Nobody there.
Okay, we got something there. What is that? What is that? That we would hear female voices up in this area. When you mentioned the female presence.
Hi everyone, my name is Victoria Main, and I'm here today with our guests for the premiere episode of Twin Ports Paranormal. I'm here with Harley Nowaq, Steve Glerum, and Rick Dahl, some of the members of Twin Ports Paranormal, and we're going to talk about some of the adventures they've had in the area investigating hauntings. So, where do you guys want to start?
Well, I'll tell you, I started this group. I'll start when we started. We started 3 years ago today. Almost today. And what got me going in this, I had an experience myself, 20 years ago. And back then, you didn't tell people, they didn't believe you, what have you. And later, about 2004 or something, the ghost adventures came on. And I was listening to some of the experiences people were having. It was exactly what I had. And
Ghost hunters.
The ghost hunters. Was
Yes.
it ghost hunters? And ever since then, I've just been, just fascinated with this stuff. And eventually, I wanted to put together a group myself, but it took many, many years to do it. Finally got the courage to do it, and I posted it on Facebook. I said I'm going to start, and a few people I knew who I wanted in my group, and I met Harley on Facebook, and asked him if he was interested. He said yeah, and we got together and we started to assemble it. We got the team assembled, and then we had our first case. I just want to tell you a little bit about that. I didn't know at the time that Harley was an ordained minister, which was really neat. We had a case where I asked spirits if there was anything they want to tell me, and we had an obulus, and it said preacher, and so I got the preacher, and it said 5. Got 5 people up there. It was all in my group. And we asked, what is it that you want? And it said a blessing. And Harley did a blessing, did all that stuff. And next thing you know, that obvious went nuts. We got 4 names and a whole lot of other words. And we presented that to the client, and he told us that was his mother, his father, and his uncle and aunt.
Oh my God.
And those words that were brought up also on the obulus, only he knew what it was all about, So that's when I knew we had Harley. He was a preacher. And
that was your first case?
That was our first case.
Wow.
And after that, I decided that we wanted to go a little bit further. We wanted to start cleansing houses, since, we had the minister and blessing and sealing and doing whatever we could to help the people. So Twin Ports Paranormal is about helping the people right now. And this is what we do.
We don't profit from it. We don't look at, say, it'll cost you so much to do this. It's something that we do as what we feel is what we can give to the community.
Yep.
So when you guys get a call from somebody, what do they typically, or if they reach out on Facebook or whatever, what do they typically say to you, the kind of problems they're having? What leads people to call you?
Well, a few of them, they'll bring up, they're experiencing things in the house. Things are moving. They're actually afraid. In a couple cases where their children are being tormented by a spirit. And that's the part where when we come in and I tell them, what we're going to find out what's going on. We'll see what we can do. And at the end, though, like I said, what we do is we stay with the client. We will do the cleansing, we'll do the blessings, we'll do this stuff. And the best thing that we get out of it is, I'll get a comment down the road on Facebook or in my messenger, just saying, God bless you guys. My daughter now can sleep in her room, and stuff like that. That's what's satisfying to me is how we help the people. Sure. But that's what it is. It's they're experiencing activity in their homes, and they're not sure what it is, and if it's involving the family, that's where we come into and try to help them out through that.
And we've had everything from couples who are affected in their house, where they were fine outside of the house, but when they got into the house, they were at each other's throats. We've had children, we've had sounds, we've had movement, we've had smells. That kind of stuff is reported to us when people are calling, and that's what interested in.
And the fun thing about that too, Steve, is like at the like in Hibbing when we went up there was somebody said they had smelt a cigar. We went to this regional area. There's no smoking there for years, but when you're in that area, it's like somebody smoking this cigar and you're walking right through the odor.
Yeah.
So that's still there.
And that was that at the
That was-
Masonic,
yes.
the Masonic Lodge in Hibbing, which is actually going to be our second episode of this show. So, and there's some really cool stuff in that investigation. But right now, maybe tell us a little bit about the show that or the place that we're going to talk about today.
Yeah, today we're going to talk about the Raspberry Inn, which is located in Superior, Wisconsin. The house is known as the Raspberry in the late 90s as a bed and breakfast. It was purchased in 2017 by Brandon and Jasmine Reliano from Minneapolis. The house was believed to have been constructed in 1901 for a New Yorker named Henry L. DeForest. Henry stayed there for a few years and went back, him and his wife went back to New York and sold the house to Peter Einman in 1905. Peter was a well-established businessman. He was a Freemason. He was in business with the Tolley Einman Mercantile Company. Mercantile, I believe. Big, huge chain, groceries, butter, anything come in. Well-respected man. He saved people's lives in the big fire. Him and two other men went up and they rode their car on flat tires to save people in Hermantown from the big fire. Severely burned. Came back, like I said, well recognized, well respected. The house itself was built probably at the time most modern luxuries available. We're talking gas lamps, electricity, water. It's got 7 fireplaces in it, and at the time when the house was in use, had numerous wood stoves in it. So it was built to last, and of course it's still standing today. Servant quarter bell ringers, electronics. They'd be in the dining room and they would press a button on the floor, and they'd get a ring. And of course, they had 4 servants there through their time. We're talking about going in a little more of the Raspberry in the future on a second show, and we could probably get into more of what evolves around that. But the Rigliano family, they're working on it, and they're trying to make it, theirs.
So they're working to renovate the house. I understand. How did you connect with them?
Well, one of our members, Ron Thompson, who isn't here right now, he worked on the furnace of that place a number of years ago, and he heard stories of neighbors would say that they'd see somebody standing in the upstairs window, 3rd floor window. So he seen that somebody was over there one day, and he drove around. He walked up there, and he met Jasmine and Brandon. And he said, I worked on the furnace of this house 20 years ago. And then he got to meet and hear what was going on in the house, because they were telling him, that there's some strange stuff going on here. And he says, well, how would you like us to investigate this? And he says, oh, absolutely. So there we were.
Okay. So you guys went to when did you go to the Raspberry Inn the first time?
What year was that?
Oh, it was 2018,
2018.
yeah.
Okay.
2018. And it was summer.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what was your initial experience like when you first got there? How did the place feel to you?
It hit you.
Oh, yeah.
It was great. I mean, some people get scared. Myself, I walk in and something hits me in the face when I walk in, and either that or ear chills or whatever hits me, I automatically just excite.
Well, for a house that at the time had no power and all that stuff, and we walked in using the K2 meter and the Mel meters and stuff like that, and when we walked in through that door, our meters would spike out. And you could just feel it, your hair stood up.
And there's no power going
and
in the house
there's
at all?
no power at the moment. And so there's nothing there to set
And what
it
he's
off.
referring to by the K2 and the millimeter, they're based on electrical magnetic fields. So it takes electricity to cause those to activate. And when we're talking about the energy levels in that house, a normal spike on a millimeter, which is normally a 0.08 or a 0.1, we're talking 60s and 70s. We're not talking small numbers. We're talking through the roof. The energy was thick.
Yeah.
It's made all the hair stand up on you. It was absolutely just magnetic in there. And for us, that's our dream come true.
Yeah.
So that was the very first time you walked in the door before you really had everything set up and
Oh, absolutely.
By the time we were in there for an investigation, they had power, so we could set everything up and
Yeah,
set
and
cameras on each
they
floor.
hooked up an extension cord to a box downstairs. They had the power hooked up, so we were able to get electricity in there to set up our cameras.
okay. So, so we've got a clip here that we're going to show in a minute. So maybe you could give us a little bit of background on what was happening in this first clip.
I'll leave that up to Steve, because I'll start it off though, but we were upstairs, myself, Steve, and Sammy is like a medium that we use. And,
She's our sensitive.
and Steve
Okay.
and Sammy, they work good together, and we're upstairs, and of course, all the K2 meters and the null meters are going up. We're feeling all kinds of stuff, but I'll let Steve go from here.
Yeah, Sammy and I work really well together, and we feed off each other. And we were coming down the stairs, and Sammy heard a voice. And at first she thought it said Perry
Or Harry.
or Harry.
Yeah, Harry.
And none of us had really heard it. So then as we went down, she was saying, yeah, I heard Perry, clear as day. And then when we went to review it, we'll let you guys try to figure out what it says, and we'll let you know when that part's over. But
Well, this is good because Jim and I, we were listening to this EVP earlier. And Jim, you know, where I think the EVP is not the same place where Jim thinks the EVP is.
Okay.
Because, of course, you can also hear, like, breathing, you know, which is like Steve.
You got to realize too, this audio was picked up on the handheld camera.
Okay.
Not even a
Not even-
regular
Not even a
tape.
digital
yeah,
recorder.
Not even digital recorder.
So,
It was picked up right on the
so
camera.
Jim and I think this would be a good time for us to make a small wager here, Jim and I, to see who actually heard where the actual EVP is. So, can we play that clip, clip number 1? Can we play that?
we're coming down the stairs from the 3rd floor.
Flashlight ain't the best. Go right here.
Did you guys hear that?
This way. What'd you hear?
Harry.
The name Harry?
Yeah, Harry. Just like whispered Harry.
It's crazy because, you know, this is the area that we hear voices. Also, was this the level we were on when we said you said where and we heard up, or was that the next?
Yep.
I think it was this
No,
one.
It was this one.
It was this one.
Okay. Okay, so where exactly in there? I mean, I know what I think, where I think it was Harry.
Yeah.
But it was like right after I heard, like, you could hear a step, and you could hear, like, your breathing perhaps, and then I heard Harry, like a whisper like that.
Yeah, that's what
And it
what
was about 10
That's-
seconds
yeah.
into that clip, and the camera actually viewed down the stairs, was right at the end of the stairs, and was veering back up when you could hear it, and it lasted about 3 seconds.
Yeah,
Then Sammy comes into focus, and she says, I heard Harry.
yeah, it was really long, kind of drawn. I was like,
And the thing about it was we didn't know the names of the children,
Right.
of Peter's children at the time. Later, we got information that he did have a son named Perry,
okay,
and Perry did live in the house later, when his father passed. So
That's why I believe it really said Perry.
Okay.
It sounds like Harry, but I think it said Perry.
okay. Well,
And
that's
if you
interesting.
listen to the clip, you can hear the P more pronunciated than you do Harry, but her initial instinct was Harry.
And does she often, like, she'll hear stuff that you guys
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yes.
hear
She'll
things
see
that-
things, she'll hear things.
She'll feel things. One particular instance, she felt like a girl was pulled around the corner and thrown on the floor in the basement.
Which is later in a different.
Later in
too.
But she actually, in that house on the top floor, she said, I smell a fire. And later on, it was discovered there had been a fire on that top floor.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we looked up in the attic, and all the joists were all burnt, but there's no record on it.
Yeah.
There's no record of it.
Really?
And you couldn't-
in any papers or anything.
We couldn't, the rest of us couldn't smell it when we went up there. We didn't know there was a fire until Brandon went up and popped the attic door. And he's seen how charred it was. So
So she actually smelled.
she actually smelled the fire.
Yeah, and she talked
didn't
about
know
there was
thing
a
about
fire,
it at all.
some fire here, you know, but there was nothing in any record of any fire.
Huh.
And, but there's evidence of it by
Okay.
looking up in the attic.
And Brandon's the owner?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So our second clip here is really wacky. That's the one where you've got what's the thing called that shows the little figures?
SLS.
SLS. You had the SLS camera. And Harley is standing next to this other thing that appears on the SLS camera.
I do have a tendency to like to play with those, you know, to try and get movement to see if they'll deflect themselves away from or move away from me. And I really do enjoy it, but there's sometimes they don't move.
Yeah.
Well, this one kind of does. And so where in the house are you for this? Let's just give a little background on this clip. Like,
That was on the third floor, wasn't it?
Yeah, third floor. And again, we were walking around with the SLS camera, and I think that's the first time we actually caught something, was that one. And we have other clips that
So-
maybe in the future we can show.
yeah, and maybe explain to people a little bit what
Yeah.
the SLS camera means and what it does.
Yes, yeah, we'll do that. But this one here, though, Harley, was up there and this thing appeared. I'd say show that clip, and Harley will tell a little bit about it during it.
I'll watch the clip and we'll roll right into it.
Okay. Let's go to clip number 2.
Walking in front of this thing.
Right here?
Yeah, go in front of the
Right
camera,
here?
right there. Okay, go in the camera. Okay, let me back up a little bit. Wonder if it'll pick you up. It's not picking you up. You're in the picture. It's like it's on your back.
You know, it's really amazing. I got a little tingling going on.
It's like it's on your back.
Are you here? Are you messing with me? The preacher. The preacher, God. You're gonna be messing with me.
What do you feel? Anything?
Tingling. Major tingling. Not
Oh, it
pleased
got
with
you
me.
now. Now you're in it. But it was like touching your back of your neck.
That's my
Shorter
back and
figures, Harley.
my
Yeah,
back and my
notice the
neck and everything
height.
was tingling.
Yeah.
On that spirit.
So apparently, it's like his head is level with the
Still wrong?
ceiling. And
Yeah, but
I feel it.
but he's outside. He's closer to us.
Yeah, I could feel
Let me
him.
back up so Harley stays in this picture.
Okay, so are you Peter?
Oh my God! Look at the
Speak
sun.
into this thing here.
It's like bending over him.
In the Lord's name,
Stop
who are
telling
you?
me something I wouldn't want to hear.
Something we can't play on TV.
Give
Yeah.
me a name. Commanding you in the name of Jesus. Give me your name.
The way that thing leans over you is really.
It's amazing that, normally we've got other films that we've done, and whenever they look at somebody, it seems like you've got a straight thing. If they're standing straight or looking ahead, you see the head is straight. As soon as they're turning to somebody, it drops 90 degrees and it pitches or down. And it's kind of freaky, but it's fun.
It does look freaky when you look
Yeah.
at it. Where it kind of bends over you, and it looks like it's yelling at you.
Right.
It literally looks like it's bent over, screaming at you. So, what did you feel when this thing was?
I felt like every hair on my body was standing up. I could feel it. My eyes were just a little blur there, like I was stepping into something.
So, is it true that the hairs stand up all over you when there's something
Oh, yeah.
around? Because I've always wondered if that's true. I see it on the ghost shows all the time.
Well,
They're like,
that and the cold spots, that and the chills that you get, yeah, it's for real.
and you guys have devices that measure the temperature too,
Yes.
so you can
Yes.
see when it, even if you couldn't feel it, you'd be able to see it.
We've seen 6-10 degree differences. Would be you walk into a room that's 72 degrees, and all of a sudden you walk into one spot for 2 feet, and it'll drop down to 63, and you step forward again and it goes back up again. It's like you just walk into something that's just cold. And how else can you explain it but having, a lot of the investigators have that feeling of cold spot, saying that, you know, when a spirit comes in a room, sometimes they can see their breath or whatever.
Yeah.
So,
So have you guys ever had an experience where you actually got so scared that you like bolted out of the room? Has that ever happened?
No, not for me. The crazy part about it is I tend to want to stay there and find out what's going on. For instance, that we had that rose room in the Raspberry. Something with that room.
Yeah.
Every time I walked in that room, you know, I mean, I totally felt something. I felt like I was being energized. All the hair would stand up, and I'd tell these guys, you know, I'd say, "Do you feel that?" You know.
that's his room.
And
It's his favorite.
It just affected me.
And he
every single
felt
time.
positive in that room. He
Yeah, I
felt
felt
like it was a
good.
positive energy. When I walked in that room, I felt very oppressed, very heavy, feeling like I was not welcome there.
So you guys can respond differently even in the same room.
Oh, absolutely.
That's pretty wacky.
Mm-hmm.
With me, it's the basement of that building. I get affected by what's gone on. I can't say for sure, and I don't want to. I wouldn't put money in the bank on it, but we had the dowsing rods downstairs, and we are finding areas that
That
actually marked out as graves.
that actually goes with the next clip.
Yeah, it'll go on with the next show on the Raspberry.
So the dowsing rods sort of, tell us a little bit about the dowsing rods. So
A lot of people that use their body's magnetism to find things. You could use dowsing rods like a metal detector, or if you walk into a cemetery, you can actually gauge the length and width of the graves and the uniformity. And I learned this, I'm fourth generation, so I've learned this stuff along the way. And I really want all these guys to do it too, because it's fun. You could find so much. You could throw a quarter out and walk out there, and if you know how to use them, you'll find the quarter. If you find it's in
But
the
what's
grass or
really
something.
interesting is how it picks up the bodies in the ground. I mean,
that's-
I actually got to sample it at a place where the graves were, and it marks them perfectly. You know, it'll be like 3 foot one way, and then the length.
So
And-
the rods, what is it? The rods cross.
They'll cross once you're over that, and once you get away from it, it'll open. And so when you're walking in one direction, and you're going 1, 2, 3, counting your feet, then it opens up again. And if you then go the
Okay.
length of it, it'll stay closed, almost the length of a coffin or a body,
Right.
and then open again. And it's accurate. I've sampled it in with the cemeteries. It's amazing how that works. So when this happens in a place, it makes us wonder, you know,
Yeah. I
just
what's under the ground there.
And I just like to throw it out. The dowsing rods are very primal. They've been used for years and years
Oh
and years.
yeah.
But everything that we use to investigate are all equipment that was used for some other purpose. The Melmeter was actually almost like a stud finder. It was a way to look for uninsulated wires in walls
Oh,
used by
okay.
electricians. The SLS camera, which is a structured light sensor, many of you are probably familiar with the Xbox Kinect. That's exactly what it is. It's an Xbox Kinect camera that people were using to play games, and all of a sudden an extra spirit or extra person would show up.
Are you
And-
kidding me?
No.
That's why it's not on the market today. But you can still find Xbox Kinect cameras, and you can use them for paranormal investigating.
That's too. So people were playing a game on their Xbox.
That
And
could have been
like-
a possibility, yes. That
An extra figure would appear.
And they would report to the company saying there was a glitch with it. And they said, yes, there's probably a glitch with it, only to find out that it's been used in paranormal investigations as well, and it can pick up energies.
Wow. So tell us about you're in the basement and you take the dowsing rods down there, right?
Okay, I told Rick that I needed to go down and see what was going on. It just didn't feel right in the basement, so I took dowsing rods. In the rooms that I went into, I discovered a 3x6 in the floor, what I call a carbon footprint. I hate to say it. I don't want to deal with the people that don't want to leave the carbon footprint, because if you die, you're in the ground. Body's got carbon, metal's got carbon. You're leaving your imprint, and that's what you're picking up with the dowsing rods. But they were in particular angles it was like, okay, if somebody got pulled in down here, they just dug there, and it's off in one particular angle. You go to the next room, and it's on another angle. It's basically 45 degrees of the room. And the third one is the same way. When you walk around between a doorway, you walk over, it's just right there, another angle. It's like, just bury it there. There's only one that runs parallel to the wall in the furnace room we found. And that's where we've had Lady O come in.
So you took the dowsing rods down into, the clip we're going to see is you took the dowsing rods down into the basement of the Raspberry Inn. Correct?
This was the day before the dowsing rod.
Yeah, but this is the day before. Actually,
Okay.
what he summed up is what is after the fact. We
I
went
gotcha.
down. We went down with the SLS,
Okay.
Yeah.
and we captured a figure
Okay,
on
well,
the floor.
let's go to that third clip and kind of tell us what you're talking about here.
Sure,
It could have been.
Wait, stop.
It's on the ground.
Right there, right where the clean is on the ground, wherever that spot is. That's the side, right?
Yeah. What is it?
Because there's a bucket of stuff in the middle of the floor.
Well,
I see the bucket over there.
Yep, that was
Yeah,
there.
it's over there.
Yeah.
But this thing was right here. So it would have been. Where's the bucket over there?
right there,
So it'd be right here.
right where the spot would be.
Yeah. You'd realize it's pitch black down there.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing where I'm pointing.
Yeah. So later on then, I mean, you see this figure on the SLS camera down on the floor, but then later on you saw, or was it before that, that you saw something else in that
We
same
had
spot?
like a silhouette, a moisture silhouette of a body curled and laying flat, and there was down below where you could see like the legs had come up. It actually, if you look at the image, it really looks like somebody's just put in there. And down below there's another portion where it showed on the SLS that there's something there as well.
Wow.
So we don't know exactly what the situation is. This point in time, we even talked to people about if they go down there, dig that place up, are they going to be able to find out if that's an absolute fact that they had somebody buried down there?
Yeah.
I mean, back in the 1900s, early 1900s, Superior was like a Wild West town. So it was like every place else.
So you never know.
You never know.
Well, and back in the 1800s, families, there weren't cemeteries, so families would bury their people in their yard. Well, the massive size of the Raspberry, there isn't really a yard. So they may have used the basement to bury
Which
their
is
loved
strictly
ones.
dirt floor.
floor.
So, and later on, we're going to have another episode about another second investigation of the Raspberry. But our second episode of this show will be next time. We'll be going with you guys, basically showing what happened up at the Hibbing Masonic Lodge. Is that right?
That's
Yes.
correct. Yes.
Okay. All right. We'll come back for our second episode when the guys go to the Hibbing Masonic Lodge. I've seen some of the footage. It's pretty amazing. So we'll see you next time.